Good, e- Good evening, everybody. My name is Carol Weaver. I am the host to the Weaver's Tarot on Wix.com as well as theweavers.com on Facebook. So check it out sometime. So I thought I'd do a reading for this week, um, beginning Monday, April 13th, going to March, I believe it's 19th. So Monday through Sunday. Um, in light of the situation going on currently with the coronavirus pandemic, um, some of my questions for the world, for the community, has been directed to this situation. Um, I know that I like to give readings, even for myself, when I'm having a difficult time. And it's oftentimes that I find revealing information, um, laying out the cards and things to look forward to. Um, so I want to just take a minute here and pause a second and talk about this astrological event that is occurring at this time. There's been a lot of talk by astrologers about how um, the sun is moving into Pisces, or the Pisces moving back in and out, and Aquarius is moving in and out. Well, this is going to continue up through the fall. Um, but between now and July, Aquarius is up. We are in the Aquarian time. And then it's going to dip out, and Pisces is going to re enter one last time. I think it's just before July, or for a brief time in July. And then Aquarius will be moving forward again, and we will thus enter the Aquarian age. Um, some astrologers believe that we have entered this age December 31st, January 1st of this year. And that would be no surprise to me. I tend to believe this, as this is when the pandemic entered the world. The, and so, with that, I also want to say, there's a lot of concern and worry, hardships that have come with this coronavirus pandemic. And I really want to encourage people to go to YouTube and check out Kelly Rosano's site about astrology and what is happening currently. She has lots of good things to say, very empowering messages. Again, her name is Kelly Rosano. The last name is Rosano. Um, I'm trying to promote myself, but honestly, this would be a very good video to watch. And she's doing an interview with a guy named Raphael Ray, who's also doing a tarot reading, as she is speaking astrologically to people. The biggest message from her site, and I'm totally with it and I agree with it, is this is a time for choices. It's disempowering as it seems as we enter this Aquarian age and this pandemic situation. It seems awfully disempowering, to think you have to step out your door and think about whether or not to wear a mask. Um, I know myself, I've had people come up, individuals from companies, to re-gutter under my roof around my house, and they've tried to approach me with no mask, or the postman comes and want to hand me the mail, and I'm like, stop, it's okay, thank you very much, you can just drop it in the mailbox, that sort of thing. Now, a lot of this going on that causing us to pause and stop and think, uh, who are we? What's going on? Oh my God, what's going to happen tomorrow? I can't even go to the grocery store now without thinking about social distancing. It is a very important thing to do right now, to social distance and to follow those CDC guidelines. Very, very important. But of course, there's all kinds of emotions and feelings and thoughts that come up for us. You know, um, it's kind of like a power struggle with ourselves. So, to what extent do I have to protect myself when I go grocery shopping, for example? You have to think about what is essential, what is not essential. Um, you know, you have to worry about the mail being dropped in the mailbox. Do I need to spray it down with Lysol before I bring it into the house? I mean, all kinds of questions. And with that, we get very uncomfortable with ourselves, with other people. And so we might even find ourselves feeling engaged in power struggles. Now, this is the thing that Kelly Rosano stresses very importantly, is to try to take a breath, acknowledge that power struggles, even with yourself, is a natural occurrence when we're dealing with shocking events and even rather traumatic events like this pandemic. Um, it brings up all sorts of questions about ourselves, about other people. Can we trust ourselves? Can we trust other people? And believe me, I understand. But it's really, really important to do things that empower our spirit and empowers our minds and empowers our hearts. And so that we are heart driven. Because in essence, this is the hallmark of the Aquarian age. It is all about how to give direction to create a new life with compassion, love. The powerful message of this time is the way through this pandemic and any struggles we're going through in our lives is love. It really is about that. And I'm pulling my spread out today or this evening. What I'm reading in here is really does support what Kelly Rosano is saying on her YouTube site. And I'm really impressed actually. Some of the basic messages that she emphasizes, and I'm going to talk more about that through my own reading, is that, it is natural, number one, to have power struggles with yourself right now. Oh my God, I've been laid off from a job. How am I going to make ends meet? And, you might find yourself even beating yourself up. And I really, please don't do that. Um, you could be worried about loved ones naturally. For some of you, you may have lost loved ones. And my heart goes out to you. And this is a good time to spend time alone and evaluate what do you want in your life? How can you support your loved ones without maybe having physical contact? There are ways of doing that. This time really challenges us to be more creative. But in order to be more creative, we have to be centered. In order to be centered, we have to honor all of our feeling, good and bad, and just hang tight with it. You know, it's okay if you're feeling like you're having a power struggle with yourself, but you do want to slow down, you want to breathe, and you want to say, what can I do to empower myself, to be in a better emotion? Even though I feel bad about this, I'm scared, I'm angry, I'm whatever, it's still important to go, okay, I acknowledge that. Take a deep breath and really pray to your higher self. Pray to your angel. Pray to your guide. Pray to Jesus. The things will work. The powerful message of this day is you will find your way with love. Love is the answer. Okay? So even with this Libra full moon, this beautiful pink moon we just had 2 days ago, it's all about loving yourself and loving other people. It's no accident the moon is pink. Pink is about love. So the biggest message at this time, entering the Aquarian age, is in this pandemic time, is to find that balance between yourself and others. Emotionally, physically, mentally, on all levels. You want to stay out of power struggles as much as possible. This whole alignment with Jupiter, Aquarius, and the Jupiter, and then we have Saturn and in Capricorn, and Pluto's up big time. Um, the message is it's how to give direction in your own life to create a life that embodies compassion and brings abundance to yourself and other people, and in very practical ways. Okay, so with that, I'm going to start my reading here. I laid out the cards. I want to talk about this card. This is the first card I pulled. And believe it or not, as hard as it's been the last couple of weeks, we are victorious. There's a lot of us that have been thinking about loved ones. How do we help other people? Um, being very creative. Creative energy is very powerful. When we're having to do things differently, that really puts out a vibration. And then when we're doing it collectively on an individual basis, the power that it amasses in this time is phenomenal. So believe it or not, we are being very victorious at this time. And, Dr. Fauci, Trump's advisor, medical advisor, has even said, as far as we're not even having as high of a death toll during this pandemic time as it was predicted 2 weeks ago, even though it's still very sad and it's still very tragic, we are being victorious. So we just need to hang in there because good things are coming. Okay. So that's the foundation of the matter, of the whole question. Where are we during this time? How are we doing? And we're doing actually pretty good. Okay. So how to bring that energy of abundance, of creative tools, financial means to have a life that we desire. Even after some of us may have suffered losses of loved ones, or we're just struggling with unemployment, or now we're home because we've been laid off, there's a lot of energy coming in from the universe to support us in this new endeavor. No surprise, but this card is the universe card. And if you look at the card, it's, the different types of energies coming in from the four directions. You see a woman dancing in the center of the cosmos, just sort of dancing with the snake, which is about renewal, rebirth, renewal. So it is a time of renewal. It is a time of starting new projects, and these dreams and ideas that we've had and been sitting on for some time now. It is time to step into manifesting your dreams and your hopes and your desires, even if you just right now can do like a manifestation poster, cut out pictures from magazines, write things on the poster, these things that you want in your life. This is it. Okay. So a very good time for that. Now, at the basis of the situation, there's a lot of indolence. When we have something like the pandemic, it's very stressful. It's shocking. It's very shocking on the emotional, mental, physical, spiritual level. And anytime the spiritual body is shocked with a traumatic event like the pandemic, it leaves us feeling kind of indolent. But on the same note, it opens up your system to a new level of creativity, to allow a more divine energy to come into your life, your angels to speak to you. Perhaps you have dreams coming to you about new ideas, a vision for the future. Okay, so this is something that had just is coming to pass. This is not what's coming up. This is what we're walking away from. We're moving forward from. Okay, so at the very beginning of the pandemic, it's no surprise to have this card in the more distant past. You have this card about ruin. A lot of people's hearts have been hurt. It's suggested by this card. So like more in the distant past, in the beginning of the pandemic, was this complete sense of ruin in people's lives, whether it's loss of a loved one, unemployment, not being able to bring in money, etc. And now we're kind of past the shock, and we're in this indolent state, and we're kind of moving past it now. All right, and of course, as the word indolence denotes, this signifies a lack of empowerment, self-empowerment, but we're going to leave that behind now. and moving towards, you know, the future. The first thing I pulled for that card, for that position, is the King of Discs. And this is a very powerful card. So you look at the image here, you see a horse looking back to the past and going, okay, well, we have to move to the forward, to the future. The Kings, that's probably one of the best cards you can get for that suit, Oh, the Pentacles represent the earth, the actions, putting into manifestation an intention, a dream, a desire. And kings are very mature people. So, a lot of us are going to be starting new projects here, even this week, I believe. With a new sense of hope. You can see the sun kind of behind the king, like the new dawn of the day, that kind of thing. Okay, so indeed, people are going to feel a little bit better this week. You have the Saturday card, the satisfaction card. Of course, I think this begins with the stimulus check that many Americans will be receiving during the first week, this week, and a feeling of satisfaction. Like it will help, and especially, for people starting new businesses or maybe wanting to invest money, it'd be a great time to do that. Okay. So, and what we have going on here for us, a lot of us as individuals. And so, when I look at this reading that I have laid out for you for this week from March 13th through the 19th, I really see some good things on the horizons. And as Kelly Rosano is admonishing people to own their power, to not give your power away, but instead to stand in your power with love and cooperation with yourself and other people. It really shows in this card with the Ace of Cups. Generally cups are about love, about emotions, about sharing on an emotional level, a feeling that sense of abundance, of sharing, commonalities, community. And, I know this week people have been very creative making masks, finding very creative ways to be with other people, going to church, parking, I know I've heard of groups of people going to church by driving to the parking lot, caravanning to the parking lot, and then spreading out over the parking lot and staying in their vehicles and then listening to a sermon by the pastor. I think this is wonderful. This is one of the greatest examples of what this Ace of Cups is about. Another example is a child has a birthday, and 10 or more people can't gather together. It has to be 10 or less people. And so a lot of creativity goes into like birthday parties and people caravanning up to the house of a child who has a birthday and singing happy birthday from their cars is a great example of being very creative in how we express love, communicate with others, and still be connected to your community. Okay. All right, so a lot of us are going to have some new contracts coming up here in the near future. Generally, I see that the Lover card is, one, having a new relationship with yourself, in a sense, having a new relationship, exemplified by starting a new project this week, and feeling a sense of satisfaction. Of course, it's what I saw, earlier with the Sagitty card, feeling satisfied with self and others because of these creative, empowering ways that we're dealing with the changes in the world right now. So this is a very lovely card. And it really does talk about marriages and contracts and legal situations working in your favor. Okay. So, I just want to take a second and say perhaps there's a lot of mistrust in the world right now with all this social distancing, feeling isolated, quarantining, staying home, not having a whole lot of contact with people. Just how, for some people, they're asking, how serious do we take this pandemic? Do I wear a mask when I go to the grocery store? On the other hand, it'd be somebody like me that will wear a mask when I go to the grocery store, and then praying and hoping that everybody else wears their mask. So there's a little bit of fear, a little bit of distrust, and etc. And so again, I have to recenter. I have to take a deep breath and remind myself that love is the answer. And as long as we stay in that place of love, our angels and our guides can easily assist us. And we'll be good. We'll be fine. This is a card of virtue. So there are a lot of people in the world doing the right thing. There are a lot of people in the world that are donating to organizations, to even the WHO organization. A lot of companies are stepping up, making ventilators, extra ventilators, PPE equipment, and God bless those health care workers out there. They're putting their lives on the front. So there's a lot of virtue in the world going on right now. And my heart goes out to you. Thank you so much. So then, the outcome is a great card. Now, I'm just talking about this week, very good. So here we were talking about empowerment. How can we empower ourselves? Stay in that good place. Acknowledge our fears, our distrust, our feelings of doubts. Some of us might be feeling pessimistic about the future, but if we could just go back to that place, make a little prayer to your higher self, to a power greater than yourself, and say, hey, I need help with this. I need help with my emotion. Take a few breaths. Don't give up your power to other people. Even if somebody's arguing with you, you just breathe and say, hey, let's just come to a solution. How can we work this out so we're both feeling okay about this? And it's a comparable solution. You know what I mean? So this is not something I'm just advising here, but it is something that is unfolding because I have this as an outcome card. So this is very positive. This week, we're going to hear a lot about a lot of good news on social media about how people are helping each other, how hospitals are coming through this, how a lot of even healthcare workers, how they're getting support, some new ideas in the community about how to support each other, churches, to people out there that need connection. We got school kids that aren't going to school right now, and whatever's going on with educational media and keeping kids educated and staying with schoolwork, it's working. It's working very well. So these creative ideas that have been enacted over the last couple of weeks are very, very successful. There also may be the ground, and this is the point of this card, it's the groundwork or foundation being laid for a better future. So even when the pandemic just kind of goes away over some time, we may be staying with some of these practices. We might find out that homeschooling is actually better than sending your kid to school. Or we may design a system where kids spend some time in school and they spend some time at home learning their schoolwork. Or who knows, technology will be invented on another level, will be advanced so that education is even better in the classroom. I don't really know how exactly this is going to manifest, but this is a very powerful card when we talk about empowerment. So there's empowerment on the individual level, on the social level, and on a global level, and most of all, in a very spiritual way, as we have just approached the Aquarian age. Okay, so now I'm going to do a reading of what the energies behind the scenes. So some of these energies are going to be working this week and into the next week. And so this week, there is going to be a feeling of abundance and reassurance People are going to feel better this week than they did last week and the week before. It's going to get better. And it's very evident by the abundance card. So we got some really good energies and feelers out there. You know, we're still feeling kind of shaky. So yeah, we say, oh, we got the stimulus check, and we feel good about that. But what about our economy? You know, some of us may be still struggling in relationships, having disagreements about what to do during the pandemic or how to handle certain things in a relationship or in the household, how to grocery shop, how to stock up on disinfectant. Who knows what it is exactly. So let's just be careful not to get into power struggles with each other. Because when I pull this card, oftentimes it is about what imagined fear. And now, I want to be careful how I say that because not all this fear is imagined. And this fear is real. I mean, we really have a serious pandemic, and a lot of lives have been lost to it. But at the same time, we don't want to be too hard on ourselves, and we don't want to be too hard on each other. So let's try to be gentle with ourselves and gentle with each other. Okay, and even with that happening, we are going to find our way through this. Okay, because here's the adjustment card. So some of us may be struggling on the emotional, mental level. Maybe some of us are struggling on the physical level. But we are going to get through this because we have the card of adjustment here, where we are going to figure out how to balance our energies and, compassionately with ourselves and other people. We are going to find a balance between ourselves and other people with compassion. And so there'll be less power struggles as we learned how to adjust. Okay. And of course, it's no surprise, but sometimes you got to have strife and struggles as you go along to figure out how best to handle situations and certain details in your life. What better courses of actions can we take to improve our finances or improve our habit of going to the grocery store or getting out in the community or reaching out and connecting with the community. It's a struggle, but we are going to get through this. Okay, so I want to talk about chakras for a second. That's what I'm trying to get to. And we have a crown chakra, we have a throat chakra, heart chakra, we have a solar plexus chakra, and then we have a sacral chakra. We also have a chakra above our heads up here. Okay. And we have a chakra that's kind of around our feet by the earth, kind of in the earth, under our feet actually. Okay, so this particular spread has to do also with the chakras. Okay, so there's money being laid at our feet. In our solar plexus, we're kind of dealing with, and in our foundation, we're dealing with some power struggles. We're trying to figure out how to have better relationships, cope on the level of our community, adjusting to all of that. Some struggles with finding creative ways to keep our connections alive. And then in our crown chakra, we have the debauch card. I mean, sometimes it's just a lot of work to be creative. Being creative isn't easy sometimes, or having to do old things in new ways. We don't like to change. That's part of our nature, but we know we have to. So we are going to get through this because right up here in this particular chakra, we have 3 cards represented by 3 cards. They're 3 very, very good cards. And I'm going to pull these up here. Excuse me. Sorry about the moving the camera around a lot. But the first card is we have here Dominion. So we are going to learn how to balance ourselves with ourselves and other people. It's very clear, and we're going to learn by our actions, when we change our habits out in the community, how we walk around grocery stores, how we handle our finances, maybe starting a new business, letting other people know about that. We're setting examples, for other people. If I can do this, you can do this, kind of thing. It's a very powerful way of communicating with other people, inspiring other people, because we're going to do it. This is what I see with these 3 cards. This is the energy that's behind this whole movement in this reading. A lot of us are having to spend a lot of time at home. We have the Hermit card. It's no fun being alone, but we got to it's good for us. Having a little bit of alone time is very good for us. It teaches us how to sit with ourselves, meditate, redream old dreams that maybe we put on the back burner. Sometimes when we're just quiet and meditating, ideas come to us where maybe we could know how to solve a problem before we're finally realizing that there are ways to solve problems. So there's benefits to spending time alone. So with the outcome of solitude and meditation and connecting with your angels and sort of recentering your emotions and owning your power gently, with self-love and self-compassion, we eventually have dominion over conditions or situations, even though we have to change a lot of our habits, even though we may have been unemployed and receiving unemployment checks, hopefully, and we might be wanting to start a business of our own. Okay, telecommunications, internet businesses are the way to go these days. But regardless of what dreams you put in action that you're inspired to do, this is really going to put energy out into the world collectively. So the more of us that can kind of recenter, stay in that place of love, in just honoring all of your emotions without acting out. And I say that, and it's not easy because I'm a Cancer. And I have to, really work with myself and remind myself to take deep breaths, stay centered, and, let my angels and guides help me come up with solutions to what seems like impossible problems. Okay, but we will succeed. And this week, I will end this reading by saying this is the highlight of the week. So use your solitude. Use this time that we have, it's upside down, to allow this new energy to come from your angels and guides in the universe. Okay, as I've seen here, allow it to unfold for